important issue.
Very surprised that someone who claims to represent the Polish community in this country wants to limit its rights and the rights of EU citizens, and Poles are the biggest group in this country, to continue to live in this country. That's a peculiar position to take, but it's the outcome of Brexit.
Right.
Given the fact that there are so many Poles living in the United Kingdom, over 800,000, we want to engage with this youth diaspora and utilize it more effectively to promote bilateral trade between our two countries. But I was appointed by the previous Prime Minister to advise him on the Polish diaspora in the United Kingdom and to advise him on Central and Eastern Europe. I still informally advise the new Prime Minister on issues to do with Poland.
Do you think that Theresa May should have set out more clearly what the end state should be in terms of the relationship between Britain and the EU?
Well, the person to blame, really, in all of this is Mr. Cameron, because he did no preparatory work whatsoever in the run-up to the referendum. All of that work should have taken place at that time, and unfortunately Mr. Cameron decided, in his determination to convince the people to stay in the European Union, no preparatory work. That's why the Prime Minister is now having to work
right.
at double pace.
He is the former Prime Minister.
And that's why when Cameron came back after those renegotiations, visiting 27 European capitals, spending a year negotiating with them, when he came back with a fig leaf, that's when the penny dropped for me, and I suddenly realized, you know what? The fifth largest economy in the world, a country that's handed over, according to the House of Commons Library, £424 billion of British taxpayers into the EU coffers since we joined in 1972. A major military power, and the security of this continent is anchored in British military superiority.
Yeah.
And they won't even be prepared to even move an inch to accommodate some of the problems that we've had in terms of our concerns about increasing interference in our internal judicial processes and in the free movement of people, creating a housing crisis in our country. No, that was the time to leave. Clearly, as the only person originally from Poland, I think I understand the Polish mentality and Polish history better than my English colleagues. So yes, I do advise them informally on Poland.
Yeah, he's still sort of advisor to...
Yes, I mean...
Let me get back to the present day, because you're not only straight from the British Isles, you're straight from the same lower house of Polish Parliament. What did you discuss there?
Well, I discussed something very exciting for me, which is with a small, tiny nucleus of Polish politicians, Mrs. Pawłowicz from Law and Justice Party, and Mr. Rzymkowski from Cookies. We talked about Brexit and why we voted for Brexit, why we felt it was no longer appropriate or suitable for us as a country to be part of this political union. And I wanted to, these are two MPs who are also Eurosceptic, and they want to pull Poland out of the European Union. Now, if you take opinion polls throughout the whole of Poland, they say that Polish citizens are universally in favour of remaining in the European Union. Fine, great, but let's have a debate. And this is why I wanted to meet these two members of Parliament, and I am now inviting them to the British Parliament to address the Polish diaspora, so that we can start a debate as to whether or not it's in Poland's interests long-term to remain in the European Union. And what we're hoping to create with EFTA, Britain is going to join with Norway, Switzerland, Iceland, and Liechtenstein. We're going to create a trading bloc, which is called EFTA. And then, 10, 20, 30 years down the line, Poland can decide, do we want to be part of the European Union, a political entity, or do we want to be part of a trading bloc? That's what I've come to discuss with Polish MPs. And, you may say to me, well, that's completely unrealistic. Poles want to remain in the European Union. They said to us 5 years ago, it would be impossible to pull out of the European Union. 5 years later, Britain has done exactly that.
Okay, so you came to Poland to promote sort of Brexit, Polexit or whatever we call it. And I wonder what the reaction of Polish politicians was.
Well, this was a very small meeting, as I said, with Mrs. Pawłowicz, Mr. Wilk, and also Mr. Rzymkowski. There were 3 parliamentarians. Very small grouping, but, we are inviting them to come to our parliament to address us. And this is just the start.
kochamy Polsce, ja kocham Polskę jako Polak, który został wybrany do Izby Gmin.